Good evening. It's May 27th. This is the normal, usual annual board meeting for the Vernon Hills Park District Board of Commissioners. Could I have a roll call, please?
Commissioner Senti.
Here.
Commissioner Robbins.
Here.
Commissioner Moline.
Here.
Commissioner Kessler.
Here.
President Dorhofer.
Here, if we could all stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The first item on the agenda this evening is the omnibus vote agenda. Items under the omnibus vote agenda are considered routine and/or non-controversial and will be approved by one motion. If a separate vote on any one item is desired, it will be pulled from the omnibus vote agenda and voted on separately. Items included in the omnibus vote agenda for this evening are the minutes of the regular board meeting dated April 22nd, 2021, minutes of the closed session dated April 22, 2021, minutes of the special board meeting dated May 6, 2021, payrolls and payable through May 27th in the amount of $686,860.71. In addition, I'd like to add the transfer of funds from the kindergarten account to the Hawthorne School District in the amount of $283,477.99 to the vote agenda. Could I have a motion to approve these omnibus vote agendas?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Robbins.
Yes.
Commissioner Moline.
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler.
Yes.
Commissioner Senti.
Yes.
President Dorhofer.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is the welcome to the visitors and public comment period. Seeing as no one decided to join us this evening, we'll move to the financial reports for the period ending April 30th, 2021. Jeff, are there any changes to the financial reports as they're currently on file?
There are none.
Next item on the agenda are reports and communications. First up, Executive Director Jeff Fugro.
Okay. Let me just get this up. So a few things. This is our annual meeting every May, and so we've got some action items, specifically to naming board officers and appointing positions and liaison positions and appointing our corporate attorney. Those are before you tonight. We've added a discussion item for tonight with some new committees that we're looking at introducing at the board level. So we'll have some conversation for you on that. I've presented to the board on getting back to doing a couple park tours this summer with, we kind of fell away from that for the last several years, and we've got some, big projects coming up, and I thought it'd be good to try and get everybody together. And so the dates I have there are the 26th of June, Saturday morning from 8 to, and I just put 11, whatever time, if we finish before then, if we go a little over. And then again on August 28th from 8 to 11. The Saturday, June 26th is Century Park. We like to walk that. We've got, things going on at the sled hill. We've got some outdoor fitness stations going in. We've got some work we're doing within the lakes that we want to be able to talk to the board about. And then we probably finish up over at Warrington. We got a new playground going in over at that end. And then in late August, Lake Charles is an area we want to attend to. We've got some staff doing preliminary work on potentially doing some, just doing a park chat with the neighbors there in September, but getting the board kind of ahead of it just to walk you through some potential reforestation in that area. So we just want to kind of bring you up to speed on what we're thinking about doing. And then following up and going over to Hawthorne Melody, where we have some additional work to do over there. So those are kind of the initial parks that we're looking at. So let me know, and the June 28th one is one that's, or the 26th one is going to come up. Those are posted public meetings because all of you would be in attendance, hopefully. So if there's any issue with those dates, I'd like to know now if you can, or just check with your calendars if that time frame works. James and I are flexible on the time. If you want to go earlier than 8, we can do that. If you want to go a little later than 8, we can do that.
I can do June 26th. August 28th, I'm not 100% sure, but I thought I missed something. Did you start saying September? And then I was looking at my calendar.
The September
What's the
is,
September date?
is a park chat that we're looking to coordinate with just inviting the community that resides in and around Lake Charles, just to get feedback from them. The village, working with the Public Works Department, they're interested in that as well, because there's things along Lake Charles that the village manages that body of water, but there's a lot of shoreline erosion, there's a lot of pretty, although it's improving with some of the work they're doing with just some of the chemical treatment that they've been doing, because it's, if you've ever been along the shoreline there, it's pretty heavily algicide, and we want to try and, clean that up a little bit. But it's one of those things where over the years, we've had several conversations with people whose properties back up to Lake Charles, that some of them like the forest look and the density, i.e. Beaver Creek, right? Or some of them would prefer to just do a lot of clear cutting, because it is, according to Rick Croja, our staff arborist, is that, probably 75% of the trees in that area are invasive. And so we would have a plan to reforest like we did with Sullivan Woods. But again, I think it's just let's start with us and have just initial visit, and kind of fill you in, and then invite the community to come and sit with us. Okay?
Would that be at a board meeting?
That would be
In
just
September?
probably a Saturday in
Okay.
September sometime, or another day that would work, with your schedule to invite the community, the residents in that area.
So you didn't plan a date in September yet? Okay, I
Yeah.
thought I missed it. Thank you.
Is there a way to do it Saturday afternoon instead of Saturday morning?
I'm open,
What time do you prefer?
I was trying to stay
Any-
away from the heat of the day.
Yeah,
You know,
anytime after
in June and
11:30,
August.
I'm available. I'm not available before then,
I can be
on
flexible.
Saturdays.
I'm flexible.
I could do it at 1 o'clock instead, like, after lunch or something like that.
No, anytime after.
I said after 11:30.
After 11:30.
Okay.
Sorry, I was just
Okay.
thinking that
You
most
were
people
getting
eat.
hungry.
Most people eat, so I just threw out 1 o'clock.
All right, then you get hotter in the day.
Bring
but
food.
It could be 11:30.
I'm fine either.
I'll have a late breakfast. I'm fine with
Right,
it.
do you have a preference? Whatever. 11:30 it is.
Okay, thanks. I'm going to just take a few minutes on the Lakeview project after I get some other updates here for the board. The Lashton Tennis Court project began Tuesday of this week. If you've driven by it, the fence is down. They're starting to excavate all of the surface. What we found today was that there is no subbase that was ever put down underneath the courts, which may be a pretty good reason why those courts have suffered what they have. Typically, you're going to find some kind of a stone subbase and then the asphalt. There's no stone whatsoever.
Really? And those
So they-
courts have got to be 70 years old.
They're 35 years.
Well,
35.
those are in the same location as when it was Tally Ho.
They just, what we're finding is probably about 12 inches of just asphalt. So it's asphalt
Oh,
on
they just put
asphalt.
it on top of
They
it.
just kept putting asphalt on, because back in,
So the bottom one
Yeah.
is probably 70 years old. I mean,
could
60
be,
years old
could be.
from the
Yes.
60s.
So we had, when we were out there, we were contemplating changing location slightly for it. Does this change the location without having to remove any of the, okay,
No, it's basically, it's gonna be a change order that we're gonna have to add some stone. There's a fair amount of stone, I would say, what would be the fourth court, which was closest to the parking lot that would so they're gonna take some of that grading and try and just spread it a little bit and get some base down, but you have to have a minimum of 4 inches of gravel put in. So once they get all of the existing asphalt removed, we'll probably have a foot, I'm guessing, at some point, and you're gonna have to fill that with topsoil, and then just have, at least the 4 inches of stone, and then the asphalt top is about 2 inches. So I'm just bringing it to your attention that it was a little bit of an unforeseen. We did some borings about a year and a half ago at Grosse Pointe Tennis Courts. We did some at Lashen, but we didn't follow up on just the findings of the ones at Lashen. So kind of hindsight, we knew going into it.
Does this give us any more flexibility since we don't have to worry about the basis that's already there?
That's what I was wondering.
Ability in terms of,
Location.
In location or size
Since
or?
we're gonna be moving
Well,
everything
if-
anyway.
if you move it further into that green space, which we've already brought to the attention of the neighbors, I think you'd get a lot of,
No, there's no way to
But-
move it further north?
come towards north towards the parking lot, we could, but now we have a grant for a playground that's supposed to go there. We would have to move the playground to the other end of it, closer to the people's backyards, if you will.
I thought
And that-
we talked about moving it, I think I'm saying directly north, which would be closer to like the fence, opposite from the street, further away.
Closer to the village hall.
Well, not so much that
Well, I mean,
direction,
that's
but
north, I mean, that,
right, not towards the parking lot, but towards the fence, towards the back end of the property, the north end of the property.
That, where the green space is,
Yes.
that big?
Yes.
Yeah, and so the two things there. One, you would have to excavate that turf, which would you'd have to bring in new fill. Then the existing site that you just excavated would have to be new turf put in. So it didn't make a lot of sense. You're taking one area, you're excavating one area already and filling it. You'd have to excavate a second area and fill it, so the cost there. And the way we presented it to the public was based on taking the existing footprint, just removing the fence and filling in it from the existing footprint.
Okay.
Smaller profile because you're going from 4 courts down to 3 courts. And really, it's 2 tennis and then 2 pickleball. And the 2 pickleball courts are equivalent to like 1 tennis court.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so that's going on. You have on the agenda also tonight just this sublet agreement, and that's for the SRA CLC to be able to use the new kindergarten facility to basically facilitate their sensory room. Part of the IGA is that the Park District, because we own the property, so any third party that looks to sublet space within the facility has to get approval from the Park Board. So it's semantics right now. And then the agreement is as I shared with you, is between SRA and District 73. But, as a landlord, if you will, of the property, we need to adopt that. Just, you're not going to see it tonight so much, but our year-end projections look really good in terms of what we budgeted from a year ago. So we'll have those for you at the June meeting, but suffice to say, the way things are coming in right now, we feel really good about, that we're on budget and things look very positive. So that was really good news. And then in terms of just, I talked to you about the transfer of the fund that we had to do tonight, which you just adopted under the consent agenda. On a park standpoint, James wants me to continue to remind people that if you're fishing in our lakes and our ponds, that you need a license if you're over 16 years old. DNR, Lake County DNR has been out more frequently to make sure people are doing that. We're finding, and so is the village and some of their water properties, that a lot of people are keeping the fish. And there's been a couple of incidents that have not been real pretty with, people getting in fights out on the sites, and police have been called. And so we're just kind of reminding our public, you should always, catch and release. This is about every lake in Lake County is doing that. We have put a pause on our tree and bench program, if you saw that, and a lot of it is just we're getting overwhelmed, and we're a little short-staffed in our Parks Department, and so it's been a little bit of a extra detail work for Rick Crozier, who oversees that. And we're going to after 4th of July, we'll get back in and we'll revisit that. And then just environmentally, I think I shared with you just an update on the solar park, solar panel project, and we got some good press with Train on that. for being like an initial park district that they worked with. And we've also been communicating with our state legislators about just there's solar legislation that we want them to continue to adopt before the May 31st deadline, because it impacts communities like us, Park District, but it also impacts you as citizens in your homes or your businesses. And there's a subsidy and a reimbursement program that the state has had in place for several years, and then that is expiring come the end of this month. So we want to keep on top of that. I shared with you just an update from James on those photos of our treating with Illinois Lakes Management that came out, the ILM that did the some of the invasive plantings in the bottom of the lake that typically we're treating with chemicals over the years to kill all that algicide, and you can refer to it as seaweed, whatever you want to call it. But these guys go down with this new mechanism. It's a vacuum system. They dive, and it comes up through this process that gets fed up through kind of a suction vacuum, and it goes right onto the boats. And you saw just pictures of, I think there was about 6 or 8 5-gallon buckets full of this stuff, and that was just one area. And kudos to James. He lined these guys up at no cost to the district. They wanted to use us as kind of a pilot lake, and they had a lot of success, and they're going to come back out again, I think in early August, and hit it again. So this is I think a really unique and cool venture that whoever came up with this idea at ILM, we're going to continue to look at, because between Big and Little Bear Lake and then the other lake, we have some at Grosse Pointe and a little bit at Evergreen Lake. Those are the lakes that typically get some bad algicide along the shoreline that we want to be able to make sure we continue to clean up. From a recreation standpoint, we've got, our PALS program registration begins next Tuesday. We'll be going into a 5th site. We've had 4 sites in the past. So that is something, we'll just have to see how registration goes for that. And the school district's been great with making sure we have space to supply us to accommodate that. We have our kids' fishing day is Saturday, June 12th. That's over by the boat dock in Century Park. We ask people to sign up for that, but you can walk up and do that as well. We're starting a new program in July. We're doing an outdoor comedy show. We're going to do that out back here at FAC, like where we have the green space in the back. Got this idea from a colleague of mine at Winnetka Park District that has run this series last year, and introduced me to a gentleman in their community who writes for SNL and has been a professional comedian himself for the last 40 years. And he hires talent, and he loved our site. He loved our indoor site, potentially. In Winnetka, they were using a park in the summer for a couple, and then they used the Nielsen tennis court facility they have in Winnetka. They basically converted a tennis court, and with the pandemic last year, they had to spread people out, but they sold out. They could sell like 200 tickets. They sold them at like $50 a piece. They sold out every night. They have 3 comedians. They have like an up and coming, and they have like a middle of the road, and then they have a name act. And so we're looking at, putting it out here in the back and trying it out. And I think it's a Tuesday night in like mid-July, and we'll see how it goes. It's adult only, because some of the language, although it's not, and we tell people that, and they actually sign their waiver that, they know this is what's going on. You might get some language that's inappropriate for, younger adults and children. But it's something different, it's something unique, and we're interested in doing, I was told you gotta have beer and wine, or they're not gonna come out. So anyways, it's something we're thinking about, and if it's nice, we'll carry it indoors and do something here. But Jack is the one kind of spearheading all that effort on trying to do something different. So we're kind of looking forward to that. FAC, aquatic.
question.
Yes.
Mr. Kessler?
Can I ask a question at this point, or no? Will it be over dinner? Would you get like a food truck or anything like that?
We would be bringing in a food truck, yes, thank
Okay.
you. It's like a 7 o'clock start. And so at FAC, we've got the ability to pull something in off the back. We've got double gates that can open up, and then, Jack's talked about that with
Have some food
lining
there,
up
too.
food. We would have food available and still allow people what I've heard, what I've learned in like Winnetka is it almost becomes like a small Ravinia. Like people will come out with their, their neighbors or a few friends, and they'll just put little tables down, and they bring out, they have a bring your own. They let people bring in their own alcohol. We're not going to do that. Yeah. So we would.
They could bring in food though, and they would just,
They can bring in food. Yeah.
they'd buy
Yeah,
their.
we're going to obviously encourage them to use our food vendor best. So we'll see how that goes. And then FAC is scheduled to open on June 12th, Saturday, June 12th. We obviously at this point don't know what's, all things are leading towards June 11th as being, phase 5 and kind of all in and no limits and no capacity. And if that happens, we open the next day, that we'll take away our reservation system. We'll have a reservation system, but we'll take away that if Mike came in with his family and signed up for 4 people, he had to last year I'm going to pick pool A, and you're going to be limited to just using pool A, which is the zero depth area. Now we have the ability based on capacity, and this was just confirmed today by the fire marshal, that we can take up to 500 people on just the front half. So we're going to take 300 in terms of a reservation system, just to make sure. And that way, when Mike comes in with his family and registers 4 people, he can go anywhere he wants within the front half of the pool and lay his hat and go in whatever pool he wants. And we'll see. So when we put the budget together, we only had 50 in each pool. And now we're feeling pretty confident based on the metrics that, that could help us out quite a bit. The NRPA gold medal video, we're still being edited, and Cheryl and I had a little look at it, just conversation with Jeffy Productions today. I expect we'll probably have a final product, or at least an edited final, like probably on Saturday, if not tomorrow night, because we want to deliver. It's due on Tuesday, and I've told them I don't want to deliver it on Tuesday. I'd like to get it in their hands probably no later than Sunday, Monday being a holiday. Now, everything is portal just right through their system, so it's not like we got to drop it in the mail and it's got to be FedExed. It's all delivered. So we'll see how that goes. I wanted to share with you, Cassidy put this together. This is a little activity book on Sully, our district mascot, and we use it for our time to play programs this summer, and it's a nice little coloring book for kids to do, and I just kudos to her. When you look through this thing, it's really cool in the time what she does in putting that together. And then we're changing out, if you've been at FAC, we've had this sign, you got to be this tall to go up the slide. I don't remember what character it was. Anybody remember? I can't.
Dolphin or something?
Is it a dolphin or something? But we're changing it to Sully, just to try and get a little bit more uniformed with that. Lacey, we're starting to see, Lakeview's picking up. I mean, it's busy, and we're selling memberships and retainage. People are coming back, so it's been really positive. And now with, maybe Lifetime going to this new elite membership, maybe some people will come join us.
It's a rumor. It's a rumor.
Yeah, okay, it's a rumor. But even so, some of you who are members at Lifetime currently, we would love to have you. We'd welcome you to join us at Lakeview.
Rumor that they're going to.
We did a really nice
Onyx.
personal training special that we did. We sold almost 50 memberships, which brought in about 10 grand in revenue. So that was really, really good. And we've got this summer education program going for college students and high school students. It's a pass for $99 that you can do, and that's for ages 14 to 25. So that's happening. So that concludes my report, but I do want to take a few minutes, Dave, before we jump into the next, and just walk you guys through this.
Please.
If I can, this is you got at your place too, you got some drawings to follow along. This is a really basic draft that the Williams architects put together on the new addition at Lakeview. And so this area here is right now all just green space. If you walked out, if you're looking at it from the street view, probably here, if you imagine this is Lakeview Parkway and you're driving down, and past the post office,
This whole area in here is just wide open green space. So the new addition is being proposed here, and I really like what they're doing. They got away from steel. They basically told us that the construction management team, if you want steel in your project,
Good
you
luck.
gotta order it today to get it
Yeah,
by next year.
you won't get it.
So this is all wood. It's got some wood fascia, and it's got some concrete pillars in there, so they've done quite a few projects of this lately. This that you see here, this covered canopy, that's an outdoor patio that's gonna accommodate our outdoor group exercise classes. It'll have a poured-in-place surface. Unlike now, if you went to Lakeview, you go to the back parking lot, and there's a 10 by 30 tent on asphalt.
Right.
Okay, so the surface isn't really ideal for our participants. This would be a lot of softer surface. What you don't see here is we asked them to put ceiling fans in, roof fans in, so if you're kind of nice, warm night, it'll keep you cool. This is the ability, this space has the ability to accommodate about 25 participants. And they base that on each participant has about 35 square feet, 35 to 40 square feet of space to exercise. So if you're doing body pump and you need to move around a little bit, that's about a 5 by 8 area that you're gonna have to yourself. And that's the calculations they use. These are all window panes completely. And so this is the new area where we would do stretching, and we would have in that floor, you would also, on the floor plan, which you don't have before you, would be for free weights. And then off to the side here, you see this here, that's the existing area now that we have treadmills that look out over. Along the side here, this is the far northwest corner. This is a training room for staff, where we have for our lifeguards, for our childcare team, for all of our group exercise teachers. It's a room, it's a little smaller than this room, but it's got a whole, we have over 40 group X teachers. And when Lacey and her team do trainings in there, we got enough space for them all. And then these are offices along here. So again, this is just a preliminary rendering of the space. The interior yet, we're still working on, but suffice to say that, we're trying to just open it all up. So the existing floor plan, when you walk into that room right today, which is about 2,800 square feet of just cardio and a little bit of stretching and some, free weight on the other side, that's all gonna become about 6,200 square feet of just open space, is the plan. So that's, I like it, I like the colors, I like the soft colors to it. You'll notice from this viewpoint here, if you drive down Lakeview, it's berm. And so you can't, the elevation, right now, the way it's sitting, is about 5 feet. So if you're driving down Lakeview, you're gonna see maybe about, 5 feet of this is not gonna be, viewed from, so one of the things we've talked about is to take some of those spoils, those berms, and that's what we've been looking to use to relocate that, truck it to our sled hill as part of this project and use it as fill for our sled hill. And so we worked a lot with Gail Hamilton as our civil engineer, and just making sure that we need a certain amount of compound storage on the site by adding all the hardscape there with the parking and some of this concrete work that we're doing around the building. And so we don't know that we're gonna take all, if you drive down Lakeview, it's like hill after hill after hill. We've asked them to just calculate about 50% of removal of that berm, so that, imagine if you're driving from the post office or Glacier and you're heading towards 60, that at least you'll have this visual, and it'll be impactful. But, the second part of it is we like the fact that we can use that spoil, on something. And it does save you quite a bit, because you're gonna pay these truckers, if they just gotta go half a mile and dump it versus taking it off-site, it's a pretty costly adventure. What we're also looking at is, Gawalt is working with us on storage, on just comp storage, we're gonna have to add behind the building back over in this corner, we have a pond there that we share, and it's on part of our property and it's on part of Glacier's property. And so part of what Gawalt's doing is looking at opening that up a little bit, and we would use that for additional storage. But they're also gonna investigate maybe ponding something right in the front of
Nice.
the building where we remove those berms. So there, Mike Warner is the staff person, and I know I had a conversation with Cindy last night through email, but Mike used to be the lead guy for Lake County Stormwater Management Commission. And so any project in Lake County that you did for comp storage or any kind of stormwater project, Mike was the gatekeeper. Well, he retired, and Gawalt Hamilton hired him. So he's on our project team, and the guy is, I'm telling you, I've worked with him just through phone conversations in the last decade, but I have him up close and walk me through stuff. He's so good. He's just so good. And he works great with the village, and it's like, just to have somebody on our planning team that has that respect and knowledge is really, I think is really gonna help us, He just thinks about, how can I save you money? Like, that's what he's thinking, but at the same time, doing what he has to do to protect, the stormwater part of it. So that's what, any questions, anybody?
Commissioner Kessler?
So, I agree, I like the color, I like the way they try to blend it in, picking up the brick, banding to the size. The look of it is good. I have some concerns about functionality. The side door that you said that they would bring
Right here,
out
yeah.
equipment to the front area, I'm concerned, is that big enough? When you have a whole group,
It's a double door.
it's a double door versus a
double
single door?
Yeah,
Okay,
so like if they're bringing out.
to bring out barbells and mats
Yeah,
and
we're not bringing
steps.
bikes. We're not
No,
bringing
but just
bikes.
I'm thinking the body pump class,
Yeah.
there's a good amount of equipment. People are going back and forth to set up their station. So I'm glad, it looked like it was a single door, so I was concerned about that. I think a big door or double door, as big as we can get will be important.
And I'm glad you said the door part, because that was a conversation I know we had with our tour about, could we do these windows? There was a talk of doing like a garage door opening and getting fresh air in. And the engineering team has told me that it's really gonna be challenging to do that. Like they tell you, we can do anything you want, Jeff, but when you open that, and now there's guys potentially that are doing free weights or doing a group X and all that air conditioning now, how are you gonna compensate for people that don't want the fresh air?
Right.
And you're losing all of this, you kept your whole building cool, and then you open one garage door for an hour for a class or two, and it just is really hard from a control standpoint that they say, and it'd be very costly to the district to keep it, the climate at least comfortable for all the different users. So we kind of got out of that, out of that potential concept.
So do we need a double door? Do we need a insulating door? Do we need a,
On this side here.
yeah.
Yeah, so it's gonna be a double set of doors.
No, I meant like how you have coming into our building, you have two.
Vestibule.
Vestibule, thank you, to help with, so when you do have it open, it doesn't, just
Yeah,
raising.
so the other thing too, you'll find that we're hoping is back in this area is gonna be 24 stall parking lot.
That was my other question.
You pull in and you're gonna take a class here, you're gonna pull in his lot, you could walk up there, but we don't want people that, we want them to check in.
Right, yeah, we don't, yeah,
So there's gonna be a little sidewalk along the perimeter that'll connect them to the front entrance. They'll have to check in, get a pass or whatever, a confirmation, and then they can either go back out that way, walk back out, or they can come in through there and go out the double door.
I actually have a concern about that walkway going all the way to the area. I would almost make that, think about functionality. I would want people to go through the building to come out to
Right.
that room. And so if you make it so the walkway does not go there, the only way to get to that area is out through that room, and you put bushes or you put something there, I think it will hopefully alleviate people trying to come in that way. Just something to think about. The other questions I had was, a lot of times when you're doing a group class, you're looking at a mirror to check your form, to make sure you're got good form in doing the exercise. Are they facing the windows? Can the windows
Yeah,
be
the instructor-
reflected?
Where you see this person here, picture, that's the instructor, so they're going out. So I'm working out and I'm looking into the windows.
So if you're looking into the windows, that means all the participants are looking out towards the street, so they have no visual to check their form. They have no mirror. If they flipped it the other
We
way,
have a mirror on an outdoor tent right now, Cindy.
No, but I'm just
You know,
saying
I
it-
don't know, an outdoor class, why would you need a mirror? on an
I think she's talking about the indoor class.
no, I'm talking, if you're doing a class outside,
Yeah.
and it's something to ask the instructors and things like that. There is value to to check your form, to make sure your squats are good and blah, blah, blah. And even if you faced the mirror, faced the windows, you'd get a reflection to watch your form to see if you're doing it fine. So is that shape conducive? Is it far enough out? I mean, it's very pretty, but should it be a little further away from the building to get people to be, so they're not as long? It seems longer than it is.
This,
How far out from the windows is the structure?
I couldn't
guess-
tell
Like
you that, but it's,
the-
Yeah, like, is it too
This
long?
way or this way?
It should be further away from the doors, the windows.
some of it is you're trying to be, like, this is the lot line here, we're trying to be symmetrical. If we moved it further out this.
No,
way,
not wider,
Deeper?
deeper,
Further
thank you,
out.
deeper.
We could.
I'm just, I guess just things to think about.
Yeah.
So I'm just throwing
All
out,
this, anytime you pull it out, right now it's like 1350, I think, 1,350 square feet. So if you wanted to make it, because I would think the roof line here, you wanna be covering that whole thing and not
Right.
make this thinner. It's not a perfect, oval shape or crescent shape, because you can see how it's squared off here.
Right.
And then it kinda curves. So if you pulled that out a little bit, it's just money. I mean, honest, it's just money. You're gonna add another 500 square feet to have it go further out to cover that. I think if you're thinking, if I'm checking out my form, could you do something with this window pane that has a little bit more of a
Reflectivity.
exterior
that was
reflection?
that was,
You're gonna have it so that shades will go down, when there's a class going on. Because some of it is, and that's really up to the instructor in the class. If you're comfortable that people are in there working out, stretching, and they can see you and you can see them, then that's fine. But if you want some kind of privacy, then we would put those shades down. We also know that it does get some sun in there, during, the morning part of the day, so we're gonna have to do some kind of, shade structure in there. And they mentioned, the architects in Comosi have said, oh yeah, we know what we know what you're looking for. We've done this in multiple facilities, and I'm like, okay, I just don't know what the product is. It's not your typical, like this behind you, that you can pull down kind of shape. It's some other kind of, really good sunproof, but has the sheerness that you can still kind of see out. It doesn't darken the whole room.
It's mesh, but there's different thicknesses.
But I'll ask that, yeah.
I just think it'd be nice to have a reflective thing.
Anything else? Bruce?
Commissioner Robbins?
Would it make sense to put solar panels on the new
Yeah,
roof?
we looked at solar on this, unfortunately, because of all the rooftop units that we have to put on, and that exist between the pool and above the group X and stuff, it doesn't make sense for us to put, there's really no solid way. We asked Train, like this canopy here, maybe, but I don't know that, what that's gonna look like. Because that's not gonna have any, this roof system is not gonna have any mechanical system on it. But
Right.
It's not that big to put something on, but we did investigate a little while ago when we had Train out on this building, it's just not conducive.
Commissioner Sente?
Thank you. I wanted to be sure I heard you right. The underside of the canopy, is that actual, a wood laminate?
Wood laminate.
That would be
yeah.
nice. And then, I guess the part about the, when people are working out outside, I know we had a little bit of experience with the tent, but I'm just curious, like, how, has the architect designed outdoor areas in other fitness centers or park districts? Because I don't know if it's gonna, how popular it's gonna be, and then are we gonna say, oh, we wish we would have made it a little bit bigger, no one wants to be out here, and, just different things. Either way, if they have examples in this type of climate, just maybe to ask them for some guidance, so.
Right, I mean, the tent worked well, given COVID, and we threw it up, and
Do
people were
nothing else.
happy to
Yeah.
do it. I guess if we're designing it, yeah, they didn't use it, they didn't have mirrors in a tent, but let's think about all the things that they would want and functions and things like
Yeah.
that, so, yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, because
on
we
that.
could plan something and then everyone's like, I don't want to sweat outside, and okay, what are we gonna use that for? And
Should we survey
Maybe it wants to be
the
bigger.
members? Have we surveyed the members
Yeah,
about?
Lacey has, I mean, and that's why we got to this thing, because Lacey was talking with a lot of her key instructors and some of our members of, would you guys like something? And they're like, oh yeah, this would be ideal.
Okay,
And I think just seeing what we sent, I think it's gonna be here to stay. People love working out, they love doing classes outside. And if the weather's nice, and we have a spot that we can do it, I think that's really on top of our indoor studio that people still might wanna do. And then we have the freeway area that we're converting kind of to a smaller, studio. It gives us options, but for the summertime, something like that is just, you can do quite a few classes there during the day, and I think most people would probably wanna work out, do an outdoor class. Question?
Yeah, I would question that. I mean, right now, we're in a situation where everybody would rather be outside than in because of COVID. But we do live in Chicago where it's either 40 or 90. And I don't know that we want to spend a ton of money on something that might only be used 60 days a year. And I think 60 days is probably, I'm just off the top of my head, but that would be a pretty decent guess of how many days a year the temperature would be the right amount of hot or cold under normal circumstances that somebody would want to work out outside.
Yeah, we were using the tent, she was running classes May through October. Even if it got down to 45 at night, they were still outside running classes. Now, some of that was, they didn't have a choice because they
Right.
couldn't be
Right.
indoors.
That's my
Or you're
point.
indoors,
When this
you
goes
limited
away
to 10
and people get used to being in the air conditioning again, they're not gonna wanna be outside when it's 90, and they're not gonna be one out, in the morning of a typical Chicago morning at 7 or 8 in the morning, it's still maybe 55 degrees.
Yeah.
That's a little bit nippy. And if you're doing something at noon, it might be 90, and that's a little too hot. So that's my only point, is that
Our classes, Group X classes run from when we open the door at 5:30, and they run till about 9 o'clock, typically. And then they start up again about 4:30, and they go till about 7. Everything in between 10 and 4, we're just not.
long as, I trust
No,
staff,
I- no,
I
I
trust
think
the
it's-
architect, he's done it before.
Yeah, well, I don't know, I mean, that they've done something like this, we'll ask. I think the other thing too, we tried to present here is, the building is so vanilla. If you don't have this, and you're just looking at this, most people, when they drive by it, they don't know what it is, until they get towards the chimney end where we have our banner and our marquee. And so I feel like you gotta have something that really pops in that corner that is gonna, at least attract people to the building and make it look a little bit more presentable, like it's a fitness center. People might drive by and say, oh, is that the entrance? If it's something that significant, and they may not go around. to
or is that the outdoor cafe
Yeah.
where I can sit?
Well, that
I
actually
just
bring-
wanted,
oh.
oh, I'm sorry, I wanted to finish and say, what was my last point? I'm sorry, I forgot.
I was wondering about, do we need to have any kind of seating out there? If somebody is tired, needs to sit down, tie a shoe, whatever, is that something we need to incorporate as some kind of?
I mean, this exterior landscaping is all on us. And so part of this extension here, we're gonna come out further with some additional grass, and it'll be, probably more than likely, it'll be just what we have in our playgrounds, where we just have wood chips down beyond the poured in place. And then we can put some benches out there, Cindy, for people if they wanna sit. You gotta be a little careful with coming out too far, because there is some underground utilities there with stormwater that if you start bringing this patio out too far, you're gonna impact, you know, that. All right.
I'm sorry, I remember what I
Yes,
was.
Commissioner Robbins?
I'm sorry, did you want to?
No, go ahead, Commissioner Robbins.
Couple more points. When is the prospective start date for this?
March.
March of '22, okay.
For the completion by
That one,
October.
how you pushed it, it would say.
Is there any,
You know, 'cause
is
that's
it
why-
big enough that we could put our logo or our name on the top there, so people do see that it's?
We could, like along this banding.
Yeah.
And if you wanted to put, you know, Lakeview Fitness, we could do that, sure.
I
Again,
wanna do that.
That might create the
I-
look that's the entrance.
I don't wanna put Lakewood Fitness, because if someday in the future somebody decides to name it the Joe Blow Memorial Fitness Center, then we have to pay to get it changed. I honestly, I don't think it's necessary, you know, we're not that kind of facility, we're not an upscale, you know, not that there's anything wrong with but that's not the market we're chasing, so I think price and convenience are gonna bring people to you. I don't think we need to spend a ton of money on drive-by advertising. That's just my opinion.
I just think it'd be confused with the entrance. Something to look at. Any other questions for, yes?
Just one other point. Have they, the construction people, Jeff, have they mentioned about shortage of wood? Because there's a shortage of wood.
No,
Okay.
no,
Steel and wood is the big,
yeah, no, they didn't say that about it,
okay.
no.
Commissioner Sente?
Thank you. I wanted to talk about Commissioner Kessler's point about the reflection. I do think that's a good idea. There's lots of types of reflective glazing surfaces and even coatings that you can just directly apply on. And so I don't know if the architect has ever asked someone to do that before, but they'll certainly have ideas. So I just wanted to encourage you to ask them. And then in terms of the signage, I'm not sure, but I think on that curved area, I think it's too squat, short to put something on. I think it'll be a little bit challenging there.
Or you couldn't read it from the road kind of thing, too far.
All right. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is Commissioner Committee reports. We have none this evening, so we'll move to board correspondence. The board has received a letter this evening. It says, "Dear Executive Director Fougeroux, congratulations to you, the staff and board, for being named a national finalist in the prestigious Gold Medal Award program. Each year, many park districts from all over the country submit applications to be considered for this award. It takes many hours of time and effort to prepare this, but only those that believe they are among the very best can really go for this recognition. Your district knows they're in that category. We are very proud of your excellence in park and recreation management and for garnering the attention and affirmation of the NRPA for being one of the best agencies in the nation. Sincerely, Adrian Johnson, State Senator, 30th District." So, thank you very much for that. Next item on the agenda is unfinished business. The Executive Director Work Plan 2021-2022, Work Plan Adoption. Could I have a motion to adopt the 2021-2022 Executive Director Work Plan?
So moved.
Second,
Second,
discussion. Roll call.
Commissioner Meline?
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler?
Yes.
Commissioner Sente?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
President Dorhofer?
Yes. Next item on the agenda is new business. Discussion of the park tours.
So we've confirmed that. We got all that.
We are good to go with
We're good
that.
to go on that, right? June 26th, August 28th, 11:30.
11:30. Next item on the agenda, yes. Which one?
The August one doesn't work for me.
What's that?
The August one doesn't work
We'll
for
have to
me.
change the August one.
The August,
Yep.
yeah. Is there another date? Then this would be a good time to let me know what, the week before is Rib Fest, so that wouldn't work. Wanted to go 2 weeks before the 28th, or does the Sunday work, the following day, the 29th?
Yes, and the 14th would work for me if it needed to be Saturday, but Sundays, yes.
Sundays, we
All
could do
Sundays.
late after, same, after 12.
I'm sorry, you're talking the 15th? What day are we talking? Or the
29th.
Looking at the 29th,
29th.
Sunday the
I'll make
29th.
Jeff work on a Sunday.
Could we do in the afternoon?
Yeah.
You're gonna make Jeff work on a Sunday.
Yeah, it doesn't, ma-
It does matter.
it really doesn't matter.
He doesn't work usually on a Saturday.
All right, yeah,
Oh, yeah, I do.
all right, whatever,
It's just another day. Yeah, Sundays are not bad, they're fine. We can do Sunday the 29th,
Do we have a time?
12 o'clock.
Could we do like
Or-
2, 1?
1
or
o'clock?
2?
1 o'clock? 1?
Yeah, I'm out of church at 12, so anytime after that.
Is that, okay.
So the 29th, 1 o'clock. Okay?
So again,
Just to confirm, Saturday, June 26th, 11:30, and I'll tell you, and then Sunday, August 29th at 1 o'clock.
Thanks.
that's all.
Dave, I had on that?
Okay. Next item on the agenda is the Administrative Policy 3.32, Fraud, Waste, and Abuse Awareness. Could I have a motion to adopt the Administrative Policy 3.32?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Senti,
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Meline.
Yes,
President Dorhofer.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is the SRA CLC Sensory Room Sublease Agreement. Could I have a motion to approve the IGA between SRA CLC and District 73 for the sublet of space?
so moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Meline,
Yes,
Commissioner Senti,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler,
Yes.
President Dorhofer.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is the Lakeview Kitchen Remodel Award. Could I ask for a motion to approve, to award the Lakeview Kitchen Remodel Project to Absolute Home Improvement and Cleaning Services in the amount of $67,800? Second,
second.
discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Meline,
Yes,
Commissioner Kessler,
Yes.
Commissioner Senti,
Yes.
President Dorhofer.
Yes, next item on the agenda is the Lakeview Fitness Construction Contract for Camosi Construction. Could I have a motion to approve the construction management contract for the Lakeview Fitness renovation project from Camosi Construction?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Meline,
yes,
Commissioner Kessler,
Yes.
Commissioner Senti,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
President Dorhofer.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is Galt Hamilton proposal for site design and surveying. Could I have a motion to approve the Galt Hamilton proposal for site design and surveying for the Lakeview Fitness renovation project in the amount of $30,900?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Kessler,
Yes.
Commissioner Senti,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins,
Yes.
Commissioner Meline,
yes,
President Dorhofer.
Yes. Next item on the agenda is ordinance 3-21, an ordinance making a combined annual budget and appropriation of funds for the Vernon Hills Park District for the fiscal year beginning June 1, 2021, and ending May 31, 2022.
so moved.
Second,
Second.
discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Senti,
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Meline?
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler?
Yes.
President Dorhofer?
Yes. Next item on the agenda is the election of board officers. I will turn it over to Executive Director Fugere.
Okay, this is that time of year at our annual meeting for election of board president. I would like now to take nominations from the dais for the election of park board president.
I would like to nominate David Durhofer as, for president of the park board.
A second?
Are there any other nominations to be heard from the board?
I move that we close nominations, right? You gotta do that next?
I would do that, yeah. So at this point, there are no other nominations, then I would ask for Amy to call for a vote to support the election of Commissioner Duerhofer to be elected as Park Board President. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Meline? Commissioner Kessler?
Yes.
Commissioner Senti?
Yes.
Commissioner Dorhofer?
Yes, and thank you all very much.
Okay, I'll now take nominations for the election of the Park Board Vice President.
I would like to nominate Commissioner Cindy Kessler as vice president.
Second.
Are there any other nominations to be heard from the board? Seeing that there are no other nominations, I'd like to call for a vote for Commissioner Kessler to be elected as Park Board Vice President. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Meline?
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler?
Yes.
Commissioner Senti?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
President Dorhofer?
Yes. Next item on the agenda is appointment, secretary, treasurer, and attorney. Can I have a motion to appoint Executive Director Fugere as the board secretary, Superintendent DeSico as the board treasurer, and Tressler LLP as our board attorney?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion? Roll call.
Commissioner Meline?
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler?
Yes.
Commissioner Senti?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
President Dorhofer?
Yes, next item is the committee liaison assignments for District 73. I would like to ask Commissioner Kessler to continue in her role.
Yes.
Thank you. For Village of Vernon Hills, I would like for, keeping our tradition, I will be as part of it, and Commissioner Kessler, if you could join me, so the president and vice president are the committee liaisons for the village.
Yes.
Committee development discussion. There's 3 other nominations for the Rec Advisory Committee. Commissioner Meline, I'd like for you to sit on that if you would, please.
Sure.
Audit Committee, Commissioner Robbins, I'd like for you to represent the board in that.
Yes.
And Board Development Committee, Commissioner Sente, I'd like for you to take that role, please.
Yes, thank you.
With that, last item on the agenda, Commissioner comments. Commissioner Meline,
None, thank you.
Commissioner Robbins,
Nothing this evening.
Commissioner Sente,
Nothing.
Commissioner Kessler,
Nothing.
Commissioner Dorhofer has nothing. With that being said, could I have a motion to enter into closed session under Section 2C1 of the Open Meetings Act to discuss the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the district or legal counsel of the district, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee of the district or against legal counsel to determine its validity? Could I have a motion, please?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Roll call.
Commissioner Senti?
Yes.
Commissioner Kessler?
Yes.
Commissioner Robbins?
Yes.
Commissioner Meline?
Yes.
President Dorhofer?
Yes, we are adjourned to closed session.